I'm just waiting to see. Hi everyone. How is everyone doing? So, it took me a while to get over here, and it's been a while. To my peeps in my homeland, I'm glad you survived burial, for those who survived burial. And for those who are trying to pick up the pieces and get their life back on track and together, wishing you good luck on that. Wishing you prosperity and peace and calmness in the midst of all the storm, okay? To all my friends and family, both far and near, thanks for joining, thanks for subscribing, and thanks for liking. I must admit, I am very busy, especially these days. I'm going to school for the past 3 years, going 4, and I'm basically done. I'm like on the last few weeks, not even few weeks, like a week or a couple days. So I'm very busy. So it's not to say I forget everybody or abandon everybody. I'm just trying to finish up on this school thing, and then I'll have more time to hang out with you guys and share my journey and experience. And yes, going to school almost 3, 4. I try to finish up my masters. It took a while. I started before I have my second kid, and my second kid is here going 2 years old, and I'm still at it. But like I said, I basically finished. So you must know. But it's a lot. School, work, pregnancy, baby. Basically, me one. It's a lot, and I ain't gonna lie, but we can talk about that another time. We can talk because I have more. I have story on that too. Second pregnancy, first pregnancy, the experiences, all of that. I have lots of story to share. But for all my Jamaicans, once again, who went through burial, who's still trying to pick up, what they've been through and the experience and the setbacks. Some of you are I hear that you guys haven't gotten back light, power, and all of this. I just trying to tell it, just hang in there, stay in there, and better will come. The pieces will fall back in place, okay? May take a little while, but they'll fall back. They'll fall back. Again, for any newcomers, thanks for joining. No. Hi, Mikey. Yeah, so like I said, I don't have much time, but once I finish school, I should be over here more often. And the fanciness of editing and everything, boy, those things take time. I ain't gonna lie. So from time to time, I might just do a couple lives and disappear and then come back. If that's okay with you all. Every now and then I might try to do a video or two, but yeah. Anyway, let's get into the meat of the matter. Why I chose nursing and my journey as a nurse. So, in anything, you have to start from the beginning, right? The beginning. So I went into nursing. Like I said, for those who know me, I'm from Jamaica. Who don't know me, I'm from Jamaica. And those who know me, yes, I'm Jamaica, yeah. So growing up, I grew up with my mom alone. Just my mom. She worked hard. I'm my only child. She worked very hard, and I see her work hard. And because of that, I'm always inspired to just, do what I need to do and get going. Always inspired by her. Bless her soul. She's still in Jamaica. Yeah. I put in her papers for her to come up soon, but I don't know. I don't hear from, Homeland and Security or them US people there yet, but, so far, but it should be good in due time. In due time, by God's grace. But yeah. So like I said, just mommy alone and, go to school, do what I'm supposed to do. Always a kind of obedient child, funny enough. My problem is I love to chat. That has always just been my issue. But apart from that, pretty good kid growing up. So initially I was gonna be a teacher. Mm-hmm. Got through at Michael College and everything and say, I'm gonna do teaching because at the time I was heavy in church. I used to go like Adventist based girl. So heavy in church. Somebody said, boy, back then it was alarming because as an Adventist, they have a thing, don't work on Sabbath and work and get in work because Sabbath. So I said, what can I do that even if I work or I won't have no issue with employment? And I said, the nursing, because before I went to nurse, I went to Northern Caribbean University. Yes, I love that school. A lot of people like, formerly known as West Indies College. Love that school. It helped make me who I am as a young lady. And I left from Kingston because I grew up in Kingston. Left from Kingston, I went all the way to Mandeville. People was asking, Norda, why? Because like I said, I got through with Michael and then I switched. Why I switched from Michael and teaching? At the time, Michael was given diploma. Now I hear that NCU College, Northern Caribbean University, gonna give me a Bachelor of Science in Nursing. I'm like, no man, that sounds heavier. Me want the bachelor's, diploma. No sir. I go for the bachelor's. And then at the time I had a cousin who used to travel, and she's a teacher. So she migrated as a teacher. And back in Jamaica, everybody want like, this American thing overseas. That's what on everybody, like most people, not everybody. Because the upper class, because Jamaica nice if you have money. And the upper class, a lot of time I was hear them and say, I'm not going to go far and go be a second class citizen. When my first class in Jamaica, a lot of the people with money come from wealth, yeah, right? I don't come from wealth. No, I never born with no gold spoon. Nope. Everything you see I do, just me and God, basically. Yes, I always hear them and say, no, sir, second class. And I used to wonder what they're talking about. But as time goes by, I see exactly what they mean. But we'll talk about that later. So anyhow, as I said, no, I said, I'm going to do nursing. Not a Caribbean because it's a degree. I want a degree. I not a diploma. So I say, fine. So I say, I tell my mom is like, where you going to get money from? Because like I say, not have it like that. I'm like, God is going to provide. A couple years later, she tell me, when I finish her, she's like, remember when you tell me, say, God, I go provide because you got money for me? I'm going to say, yes, I remember. Just say, I'm going to tell her, God, I go provide. But what I did, I used student loan. I used student loan those 4 years I got through. Student loan in Jamaica there. Yep. Got through. Some of the years I got, what do they call it? Grants. It helped with the books and everything. So anyhow, I leave Kingston, pack up my mom, friends. They carried me down to Mandeville, never forget. And I lived in the community and traveled to school. I had housemate, roommate, whatever it was. And I'm a pretty focused person. I think I get it from my mom. So when I went down, I was like, I don't want to waste time. I just want to do what I come here to do and go back home, because it was 2 years in Mandeville and 2 years in Kingston. Remember, I'm from Kingston. So in my head, I'm saying, I'm just going to do the 2 years. Just 2 years I'm going to be away. When I come back to Kingston, I can go back home to my mom and just finish up. Right? Anyhow, I did just that. I was successful. Didn't lolly or waste no time, and I go back home. But when I was going, people was like, why are you leaving? You're from Kingston. Where are you going to Mandeville, Manchester? I'm like, listen, it's a degree, and at some point I want to migrate to the US. It's a job I know I don't have to worry about if I'm Adventist or not, or if I have to work on the Sabbath, or I can't get employed and all that. Because what drove me to, before I went to NCU, I got a little job, like, I'm going to test out whatever job and whatever. And could you believe, sir, it was at the time people used to walk and sell stuff, promote. And that's when I realized business is not for me at that time, right? I'm warming up to the idea of business now because I realize, money, that's where real money is. But at the time, younger, I'm like, business is not for me. Because I remember I signed up, saw it in the Glean, and I'm glad young stuff before college. And I said, let me go try it out. These were some people who walk with products and try to convince people to buy them. I don't know if you remember those type of people. I think they still do them. There's some sales rep. Yeah. I remember the time, man. So they would walk out like to the supermarket areas or the affluent neighbors because they want them to, buy their product. And I remember I traveled. Let me see what Mikey has said. Hold on. Mikey, that was amazing of you as an only child to leave from under mommy's wing to school in Mandeville. Yeah, Mikey. Yes, 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 yes. I tried. You know what I mean? So yes, I remember, and I used to go to it's like a group. You have one person in charge of us, and then you have the others why this thing? Okay. You want me to stay straight with the video, so let me keep straight. So yeah, so we went man, and while we're doing it, sun hot man, I never forget. I walk up and down with bag with products I sell, and the sun just hot. Me say, and this was I got through interview and everything, and get this job. It was all this thing. Figure walk up and down and sell goods in a sun. Me say, no, no, no. Is this life? Me say, no, 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 no. And that's when I said, I'm going to college. I have to do something that makes sense. And, well, to me, it never made no sense. I'm sorry. I know for some people that's their life and they're very good at it. Kudos to you. I don't think I was good at it. Worse, I walk up and down and sell no sun out. The sun did really hot. Me just never see. Anyway, so I went to NCU, some beautiful days, and I went back home for the last 2 years, did my orientation and done. Just to the end, I got pregnant with my first son, meet daddy, and we think we in love, and I thought, this is it. This is it. This is it at the time, in love. Like we were really in love, really. Yeah, that was my first. But anyhow, I got pregnant, and we go into story with that. But anyhow, so like I said, I knew I wanted to migrate. I always knew. So I always move with a purpose. Always. Like I always envision myself in things or places, and I always take the necessary steps or align myself to go in that direction. So that's how I end up in nursing. So at the end now, like I said, give you a little story. In love. Chad daddy, yeah, we in love. So I say, all right, me to be on my conscious step, but I say, I can't stop because, think, need kid. Anyway, mom did vex, because I just don't leave college. She said, I think you did have better sense than that. Like, why never wait? So I say, thing with Caribbean period, they don't tell you certain things. Like, they will voice their no, all right. So not expectation to say, oh, don't do. It's more like when you do stuff, me think you didn't know. Like, how am I gonna know? Who told me? Who said anything? Nobody tell me anything. So how am I supposed to know? You get what I'm saying? Typical Caribbean parents. They expect a lot, but they don't tell you. No, I have a big son. I'm gonna run to tell him everything. Every single thing. Because I remember growing up, nobody not tell me nothing. Little things I knew, I love to read. That's what saved me. Okay? So anyhow, like me say, Caribbean parents not known to tell them kids about the bees and the honey and the birds. Nope. I changed that. My big son, I tell him everything. But we'll get on later on with all those things. You know what I mean? So anyhow, back to this now. In love with big son dad. Just leave college, just I leave college. So by this now, I did get through to go to Maypen Hospital. Maypen Hospital now. I said Maypen Hospital? I remember I born at Maypen Hospital, but I lived in Kingston from I was like 6 years old. How did the government drop in Maypen Hospital and assign me there to work? No, remember, guys, I said I move with a purpose. My aim was to get to a University Hospital of the West Indies to work because from what I know, they're the closest in Jamaica to the outside world in terms of doing what is right or close to textbook. Right? So UE is always on my mind. However, when I finished in May, June. Graduation was August. I said, when I was going to high school, I never get any good pictures. We went to Pegasus big banquet. So I said, you know what? I'm going to get a little job at Andrews because Northern Caribbean University is affiliated with Andrews. So I said, let me apply and see if I can get a job with them because I need some money to be, my bashment for my graduation. Yeah. I need pictures. I need, all of those things because graduation is 3 days. So I remember I get through with Andrews. Yep. By this, I was pregnant. I didn't tell mom at the time. I didn't tell her. She didn't know at the time. And then I carried very small. So that was another thing. By this, I was pregnant, right? So I said, whew. Anyhow, that was the least. Graduation. Yes, I must graduate. So like I said, finish in May, June. Graduation is in August. So we could work between that time. Do whatever. Because graduation in August. So I signed up with Andrews. Did my interview. I got through. Apparently I impressed the people. I love to chat, So I got through. Anyhow, started with them, got my little money, everything, and get my money. At the time, digital cameras coming. I don't know if you know digital, that was when the verge of from Kodak to those, snapping one thing to digital. So I got a digital camera, get my job, and I get my first digital camera at the time. Those time, I think iPhone was coming in, or a phone before that. That's when digital phones started coming in. At the time, Chad Dad got me one, my first digital. Yeah, Chad Dad got one thing, kind guy. But anyhow, back to us. We'll talk about him later on. Back to me now. So, get my camera ready and everything. So I start with Andrews. Anyhow, how I parted with Andrews, because remember I said my aim is to get to Yui. But I wanted the money at the time. I didn't hear from Yui. And the place me at Maypen, somebody reach out to one of my batchmates. No, you're not coming to Maypen. I said, no, 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 I'm not going that side. My little boyfriend, which is Chad, that at the time was in Kingston. I ain't going to no Maypen, number one. I don't see how that fit in my plan. My plan is for you. So I'm like, no, you all can take it. They said, can I take it? I said, yes, take it. So anyhow, started out at Andrews, did my graduation, get my money. So this is about August now. I stayed with Andrews until about November. And then at the time, they put me on night shift. Yeah. As a new graduate, night shift. And they didn't have any, at the time, they didn't really have any lounge to allow you as a nurse. You want maybe an hour break, you can stretch out your leg. Remember, I was pregnant at the time, it's not showing. Because one thing, I'm going to tell you, one thing with Andrews, you can't be pregnant and work with Andrews and not married. Yeah, and not married. You can't work at Andrews and you're not married. Yep. So anyhow, was there, pregnant, yeah. And then around in November, I said, boy, they're not seeing me or what? They don't notice? Sometimes I used to even vomit, run to the bathroom on duty, vomit. But for a while, I didn't like Andrews after that because, I had such a little crazy experience, pregnant, new graduate nurse. Well, after a while, when I used to pass there, because, all right, I'll tell you further, I just never, anyway, back to that. So, I said, let me tell them because it looked like they're not picking up. So I went to them and I said, my current situation is that blah, 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 because I figured after a while they would have realized. So let me tell them. Anyhow, they were like, well, they didn't really come out straight. I think they're still doing it up to this day. They were like, well, if you're not married, da 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 da. I was like, okay. So they were like, unless what you want to have the baby, and when after the baby you can come back. I tell the child dad at the time, and he was like, Jamaican man. I'm not really ready for married, I'm not really ready. That's what daddy saying, I'm not really ready for married. Jamaican man. Really, at the time, he said at the time, remember now at that time, he said, I'm not really ready. I said, all right, okay, all right. So I said, all right, I guess I have to sit out because the people that are basically say I can't work. I'm being pregnant and I'm not married. And the daddy has said, you see the dilemma? So I'm sorry, I'm going to sit out. So anyhow, I sat out. By this, I heard from Yui. I did apply to, because remember, I said I move with a purpose. I move with all this time. I do my little steps and envision my little steps on my path. By this, I hear from you in November. It was like, I went to them, I did the interview because remember, that's where I want to go. So I did the interview. They didn't notice I was again, they didn't realize I was pregnant. By this, I was due in February 20. No, 16, 18. But my big son came February 20. So, so that to show you, I was a little bit, but they still didn't realize. So I said, all right, let me tell them because, maybe I can still. Because after Andrews, then it was just too off. And I'm like, a new nurse, they're probably going to kill him with work. You know what I mean? You know how them things go as a newbie. But the thing is, you will give 6 months of orientations before they place you where they want you in the hospital or where you choose one of the areas that you put on the list because they kind of give you options. I chose surgery at the time, not medicine, but surgery. So, surgery, yeah. So that's where I end up being. But anyhow, so I tell them, so I was like, my current situation is that I'm pregnant. And they're like, oh, okay. So they're like, do you want to come after the baby? Because this is November and December, we don't really do orientation because it's a festive season. And, it's a lot of little things. And I said, no problem. I'll come after the baby. So I said, on hold. And I told them after the baby, I'll come. So I had the baby in February. And remember, Had the baby in February. And then by this, there was a storm. I don't remember if the storm was in that year, September, but I must tell you, the baby and the pregnancy was fine. One of the best, well, I can't say one of the best because I was only pregnant twice and carried two children on this planet. So I can only say, but that pregnancy compared to my second pregnancy, it was one of the best, like a textbook. But I kid you not, the experience, the psychological situation that was happening around me was something else. God know what I'm gonna do. Turmoil. Because basically I'm from a little sheltered. Like, like I say, I'm pretty straightforward. Like I'm always do what I'm supposed to do, listen, obedient for the most part. So, and how I end up living with my kid dad, when this happened and I get pregnant shortly after I graduate, because like this, I tell my mom, she was like, me think you didn't know better than that. I thought you knew better. So she's like, well, you make your bed, you go lie down in night. Go on, whatever, because go on. So, me tell Chad dad and say, no problem, come. Chad dad was at his people place. They had a house and stuff. So that's where it was living. So he said, come, no problem. So me pack up myself, I'm gone. Because being around my mom, it would be just a psychological turmoil. Because she was so upset. I'm an only child, but she was so mad. She said she think me didn't know better. Like, if me couldn't wait. Yeah, that was her exact word. You couldn't wait. But like me say, she not tell me. I said, boy, I know that this is the plans I expect. Try and walk this path. If you kind of lean, it's okay. But nothing like that. But then when things happen, me think you didn't know better. Anyhow, went on to chat that there with him. And like I said, after I have the baby, turmoil. And it wasn't that he was doing me anything, or it's just things that I envisioned for myself wasn't aligning with what I saw. I was like, this is not the life. This is it. This is life. Like, this looks like some struggle thing. No, I'm not going there. I remember saying I wasn't married because he said, no, I'm not ready for marriage. It's at the time when it's really important, right? So I said, this looks like some struggle. I have student loan for pay because, yes, I use student loan to go to college for nursing. You want me to tell mom God will provide student loan. So I said, my mom work hard. I have student loan for pay. I have a baby now. I think it makes sense me go just focus on myself, the baby, and get going. This don't look like it going to work out to what I think it should be. Yeah, I always kind of have like a standards. Don't really know what, like, I don't really know, no. But something in me just add up like. So anyhow, was there, and by this the dad wasn't working, so I look and I say, you know what, I've been out from November. Cause I remember say Andrew say not married, so, and I did sit out, so I said that's why when I don't have baby I can come back. But remember say you will call me, I'm gonna say, you and me I go because I already want to reach. I'm gonna say, oh, Andrews pay you, but Andrews is not big enough. While you is a teaching, you know the drill already. You is a teaching hospital, and they're the closest to textbook. And just two because they're private, but they're not big enough. They didn't have enough experience, the experience that I'm gonna need to migrate or do the American exam. I don't think they had enough experience and exposure like that. Like I said, I'm thinking, I'm thinking. So yes, I said you would. So anyhow, when I realized, the dad was at home, I said, you know what? Instead of staying 2 months out, because remember, I said I didn't start at US. So not even maternity leave money I was getting. And the dad was out. But, the family used to help us a lot. God bless. Oh, he has a grandma there. You say she's nice. God bless our soul. But she passed on. Rest in peace. But she was a beautiful lady. She was so helpful. His family nice and everything. But anyhow, so 2 months passed, nothing. I said, you know what? I'm going to go back to work. I'm going to go to work because you're here. You'll keep the baby and blah, blah, blah. He said, no problem, no problem. Anyhow, by this, like I said, things just not make no sense to me. My heart start change. I just never, I don't feel comfort. I'm not in love like that anymore. I think reality hit me of what I'm seeing around me. I wasn't in love like that anymore. I'm annoyed. Baby's here, things to be done, and things just not maxing out as how I expected as a young person. You know what I mean? I said, start to get turned off. I wasn't interested. And I said, you know what, I'm going to go back to my mother. I'm going to go back to my mother and start over. By this now, And this is another thing. Men always know what they're doing. They know. They know. So when I said, I'm gonna go back to my mom, and this is not what I envisioned for me. I have things to do, student loan, a new baby. It's just not matching up. So when I said I'm gonna go back to my mom, and I kind of zoned out, to be honest, like my mind wasn't there anymore. I checked out of the relationship because, anyhow, by this now, he smelled the rat, and he was like, "Oh, let's go for counseling. Let's go for counseling and get married." Get what? I'm like, no, we're not getting married. We're not doing that. No, 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 no. No, no, no. Because like I said, my mind has already turned. When I wanted us to try and be married and settle as a family, it didn't happen. He said, oh, he's not ready for marriage. Now that I said I'm going to leave, go back to my mom, start over. Because remember, I start working at you know. He said, oh, let's get married. Let's go to council. Let's go to the pastor. Carry me gone to pastor. Him find some pastor. And say, let us work on counseling. By this, I kid you not. I was already out. I wasn't interested anymore. Like during the pregnancy, because he wasn't working at the time, and then I ended up being at home. There were a lot of hiccups. A lot of hiccups. At that time, it was one of the roughest period in my life. Like, because I'm kind of sheltered, and it was emotionally cycle, and he wasn't doing me anything. He wasn't hurting me or anything, physical, nothing like that. And he tried because there was love, but certain things I saw, and after a while, I think we were both miserable. He miserable, me miserable. So I said, I am going back home. I'm going back home. And he said, oh, let's go to council. Let's get married. And I said, no, we ain't getting married. When it mattered, you didn't want to go there. I'm not going there now. I don't see how this is going to work out. And I left. And I went back to my mom. Went back to my mom. Anyhow, when I'm at mom now, that was fine. But, grandparents, Gordy. I had my big son, my first son. You also, who know me knows him. One of the best thing ever happened to me. And, with mom, I said, there's going to be a conflict of interest with how I want to raise him. Because I wanted to raise my son a certain way. And everybody know how grandparents stay. Them spoil grandkids. And I saw it coming. And I said, no, I'm not going to stay. And then beside that, I had to wake up early morning with the baby for reach a hospital. The bus used to stop out at the front for pick we up and then reach home late at night. I said, no, this is not going to work out either. So I heard that you could get nursing residents on the compound. You could get a resident on the hospital compound. That's UE. It's like a quad. I don't know if you know those Portmore houses. It's like a quad. It's like a studio. Nothing big, nothing major, right? So I said, no, man, that sounds like something I'm going to work with because I'm not going to stay with my mom. She's going to interfere. She's going to spoil the kid. She's just into everything. Because her first grandchild, her only grandchild, because remember, I'm an only child. So that's when I left. So after a while, mom, a little bit, I decided to leave. I said I have to get out and go on my own with my kid. Because I have my plans and I have my, mom ain't just going to be middle. Anyhow, when I went to UE, I moved on. I got through. Got a link with the CEO at the time, bless his heart, Dr. McCarthy, nice gentleman. And he carried me over and he said, you can pick anyone you want. And I did pick, right? And it's cheaper than even out in the community. So when I got that, people was like, man, I live by hospital compound, more my privacy. And I'm like, really? But like I said, I had my vision. I had my dream. So yeah, people are like, no, that's too small. And the thing is, you are on what they call it again. Like when you're in college and people clock your visitors in and out. I forgot what they call it. Over the nursing residence, you had to sign in your visitor. No visitor can stay more than 6-7 days. And you're adult, They clock your visitor. I forgot what they call it. And even say you have your visitor in there and sleep over or something, they're going to come and knock at the window. So a lot of adults were like, no, I'm not living a nursing resident. I'm not but like I said, I had my vision and my dream. It was cheaper. And I was like, it best I pay this cheap situation. Tanya, hi. I don't know if you're still there, but yes, parents there, those Caribbean parents. So anyhow, back to it was cheaper. And I'm like, I'm gonna invest in my kid and pay this cheap rent. Me say, man, I look no man. If any man come, is it that they're gonna give me better? But I'm not gonna go pay no big rent for man to come and cock up in my house. I'm gonna feed him in a big bed, and because in the sake of privacy of a man. My aim now is my kid and me, and I'm like, I'm not gonna leave this resident unless I find somebody who can manage or afford me like that to have a family or put me somewhere better. And even if they put somewhere better, I'm not gonna give up this residence. I'm still gonna keep it because you don't know when things can go south, right? So that's what I did. I didn't really venture too far because I'm always focused on my kid and work and whatever. I think it was one guy at a time, God bless his soul, who, tried, but that's a different story. But back to us now. So I said, I'm never going to leave the residence until I migrate to the US. That's what I said. It was cheaper. I sent my kid to Mona Prep, mostly by myself. Mostly, yeah, majority. Mona Prep. How I get to do that? Because like I said, I stay on the nursing resident, the little quad. But then I was like, if he turned 12 and I don't migrate by then, I probably have to go out in the community because he's turned to a big boy, right? And basically when we lived in the quad, we shared the same bed for those years. Yep, me and my big son. So that's how I knew I just couldn't bring anybody around him. I couldn't bring I couldn't say I'm just gonna bring a man or have man for man's sake. I had to think because he was watching, he was there, he was looking, he was right under my armpit the whole time. So I had to be careful, mindful of what I was doing, all of that. So I was like, I'm not gonna leave until I migrate. And if he gets big after and I'm still not migrate, then I'm gonna have to find somewhere else, right? So anyhow, thank you, Kaylin. Thank you, baby. So anyhow, I said, you're welcome, baby. You're welcome, Papa. So anyhow, I stayed there and until I migrate. Yep, that was the place I stayed until I migrated 6 years after. I stayed on the nursing compound 6. And like I said, many said, Nora, you're good. Oh, you live over there, so in the privacy. Visitor come check you, have to clock in at the gate, clock them out. Them can't stay more than 6 days. And I didn't pay them any mind, no mind at all. Because the nursing salary was no big salary. So to me, didn't make no sense. Like I said, I got paid these big rent. And it was, UE was pretty safe. You had security at the front, security at the back. As a young single woman with a young child, I don't think I needed more than that. Because if I went in the community, I don't know who would terrorize me, who would antagonize. You understand what I'm saying? As a single woman, and I said the money I'm gonna use and pay rent, I'm gonna send my kid to Mona Prep. Yep, I'm gonna invest in him. That's what I said. I had a mentor. He's still my mentor today. He's still at UE. I'm not gonna call his name, out of respect and everything. But I remember him telling me that whatever your mom did for you, do 2 times for this kid. I never forget. And he said, yes, send him to Mona Prep if you must, because I think that's a good investment. And I sacrificed and I sent my big son. And I'm like, I want him to go there until I migrate, because I feel like that will be a good foundation for him. Yep. So like I said, UE. And I'm going to sign out now. So the next time we chat, we're going to talk about a little bit of UE and then the whole migration started taking effect and I left and how I've been doing and how things been going and my little experience. Even when I was leaving, Jamaica have this thing where them say, when you go far enough to tell people or enough to mention it to people, because we can't say things and we talk things, especially, and sometimes they mouth to catch you. I have a story on that. You'd never believe it. Initially, I never said a word to anybody, but time passed now and everything. But in the next segment, I'm gonna bring that up. How somebody might almost catch me when I was leaving. What they said to me, and it was actually a good friend, a good friend. But sometimes people perspectives change, and sometimes you just have to learn the hard way about the people you surround yourself with and what they actually feel and think of you. So catch me another time and hopefully soon, because like I say, I have my studies doing and I'm almost done. So after I finish these studies, I should have more time to catch up with you and rap with you guys. All right, so thanks for all my subscribers. I will talk about some of you with this student loan or that almost killed me. How I get over that and how I take my little time and leave and continue plan and envision. Because like I said, everything I do, everything you see I do, I always envision and plan. Almost everything to the T. Always in line myself. And the message I'm trying to say, if you see yourself want to get somewhere and do something, just vision it in line. Set yourself in line with whatever you want to do. Anything at all. Anything, no matter what it is. Just put the little steps in place. It might not happen all at once. It might take years like me, but just put yourself in line with those plans, goals, visions, and you'd be surprised. Okay? That's the lesson I have to say. So catch you soon. Thanks for joining, and don't forget to subscribe, click the bell below, and like, share, and comment. All right? Peace. Be safe out there.